Let's go do the
Hey guys, welcome back to another exciting episode of YOML. This is the Year of Magical Learning. As you know, this is I guess this journey of like life term learning. So it's gonna be multi-year, even though it's a year of magical learning.
yeah.
We can be learning this, as we can always have the faculty to do it. We will continue to do this. And so today we are on another great, I guess another great book.
Yeah.
And I think it's something to discuss about. I think it's unique enough that people can say, "Well, I'm surprised by this and by that." So let's talk about um the lesson for the day. Like 176. So I'll have Chris introduce it, and then we can talk.
Yeah. So this book is I don't even know how to describe this book. This book
Madness.
pains me. This book pains me to my core. I mean, and it's a great book, but it just pains me to my core. I mean, like it hurts. It's a book called Into Thin Air, a personal account of the Mount Everest disaster by John Krakauer. So if you remember John Krakauer, he was the author of Into the Wild,
Hmm.
which was a couple of reflections ago about Christopher McCandless, and he was searching
The
for
Alaskan bush.
yeah, he went into the African Alaskan bush, yeah. He kept
Alaskan
saying
bush, not
African,
African.
yeah. Yeah. And yeah, no, it was really good. That was a really good story, but also a lot of good lessons learned. Well, John Krakauer wrote this book, which was a personal account about the Mount Everest disaster of, I think it was 1996. Yeah.
Hmm.
So he John Krakauer, if you don't, I mean, you probably don't know if you're tuning into this, or unless you've read this, but he's a he's a mountaineer. So um he does some really technical climbing. He talks a lot about it in his book, and in general at the beginning of it. And climbing's like a love of his, and he's always his whole life wanted to climb Mount Everest. He's also a reporter, and he worked for, I think it was like Outdoor Magazine, or I can't remember what. I think it was Outdoor Magazine or something like that was like what he was reporting for. And he got an opportunity by Rob Hall and Scott Fischer, were these two. This is like back when, in the early days of like taking guided groups up Everest. So
Hmm.
like that, it had become kind of a touristy thing. Like, hey, like we can take you, we can Sherpa you up, in a group together, up the mountain. And I think it was Rob. I can't remember. Yeah, Krakauer went with Rob Hall, and he was an American, I want to say, and Scott Fischer, I think, was Australian. I can't remember, or South African, one of the two. I can't remember exactly. It doesn't matter either way. These two had competing groups. Both of them were expert mountaineers, and both had climbed Everest in the past. And Rob, they were kind of competing for supremacy on the mountain, I guess, of these
Hmm.
expeditions, because I was like, if they could successfully bring a group up and down the mountain, like obviously that grows their name in the
And
world,
at the end of
right?
the day,
So
bottom line,
right, yeah.
like,
So John Krakauer, like they invited him, because they thought, hey, this would be great if we invite a reporter. We'll pay his way, and he can document his whole experience. That he can share about how great Rob Hall was. So and his expedition, and blah 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 blah
mhm.
blah, and give and John was supposed to go there to give an account of kind of like littering on the mountain, because there were so many people now that were scaling the mountain, and they were leaving all their oxygen bottles and all their camping equipment as they scuttled back down, and it was becoming like, you can't get that shit off the mountain. So like his lens on the story was about littering, right? Like, like, is it, he was
Mhm.
trying to, writing for Outdoor Magazine is why he went on this whole thing. Anyway, so they go up, they take this trek up the mountain. He trains, with this group of people that Rob Hall, his expedition, is taking up the mountain. And there was a competing group with Scott Fischer's group, who kind of was going with him in tandem. They were going up the mountain together, but not like together. They had their own expeditions. And on the day that they summited Everest, uh, like halfway through the day, like in the afternoon, about half of them had already summited and half of them hadn't yet, and like this massive storm just rolled through like the valley that's below Everest, and it just engulfed all those people that were trying to come back down the mountain, and they got stranded out there, and like I think like 11 people died maybe or something like that out of these expeditions. Like but John survived, as well as the two guides died, Rob and Scott, and a bunch of other people died, but there was probably like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5, maybe 6 people or something like that. I think, I can't remember exactly the numbers of the expeditions between the two parties that survived. It wasn't a lot. It was the majority of the people died. So this book is about John Krakauer's personal experience of. Sorry, give me a second, really fast. I have something stuck in my throat. Okay, sorry about that. I don't. Something was like stuck in my nose. I could not breathe. So yeah. So this is John's personal account of his trip up Everest, and what happened basically. So he still wrote his story. I mean, all I could think about, like, at the start of this reflection, with the reflection title is "Going Against Nature." You wanted me to say "Don't go against nature," which is what I was saying, is don't go against nature.
Well, I think that's what I'm saying is, when we're talking about the reflections in general, it's for me to take, right? You telling me what I need to learn,
right?
And so I need you to tell me not to go against nature.
Right. I will in the reflection, but so the all I could think about after I finished this book, I swear to you, like, I mean, I could not get this book out of my mind. I could. John Krakauer is a really good writer, and I could see myself, and this was a personal account of his. Like, this wasn't like, this was a really good writer that was writing about what he experienced and what he saw and what he saw of these people. Like, this was it reminded me a lot of my own book. I Can't Imagine. It was like a play-by-play of the events. You know, it wasn't like, or at least the first half of the book, of my book. You know, like there wasn't a whole lot of reflective writing in this by John Krakauer. It was more journalistic writing. But man, I could visualize myself like right there next to these people every step of the way, and it sucked. Like, it was just awful. Like, I mean, it was torturous. It was horrible. The storm was horrible. Everything was. I couldn't get this out of my mind, and the only thing I could think about after I finished this book was like, what the fuck were they doing? This didn't have to happen. I was like, why are you up here on this mountain at all? And like, here's the thing that, like, I've learned, you know, on this journey is, like, when you go against nature, like, nature will inflict. That's its job. When you go against nature, nature's job is to say no, like, and it will inflict pain and suffering on you, right? Like, I mean, that is nature's job. These people voluntarily, like, this isn't the final frontier. This isn't a new frontier. This isn't doing some miracle, you know, activity like that nobody's ever tried before. This isn't pain that was inflicted on them that they didn't choose. This is just straight up, I want pain for pain's sake, and to see what Mother Nature's wrath looks like, and then to come back and pretend like I said that I did it or not. Like, I don't get it, and it really troubles me, because it reminds me so much, and I get passionate about this because, like, I think of it makes me think of my daughter. Like, my family went through a lot of pain and trauma. My daughter went through a lot of pain and trauma. I saw it. I saw what happened when he went against Mother Nature. She was born 4 months premature. She wasn't supposed to be here. Mother Nature was, her wrath and fury were out in full force when my daughter was born. And Amelia endured and fought, and she did what humans do. And I don't, and like, same thing with these people on Everest. They endured and they fought, and they came back with some crazy stories, right? And a lot of lessons learned. But for what? Like, Amelia was fighting for a chance at life. She didn't choose that. Like, she just fought because she was a human fighting, right? Like, and like, sometimes Mother Nature's wrath, you can't control it. But I for damn sure, like, will not ever challenge Mother Nature ever just for fun. Like, I mean, that is not a fun activity that anybody should be trying to do. I say this knowing that you can learn so many lessons, incredibly valuable life lessons. I'm sure John Krakauer's life changed after this. I'm sure the 5 other whatever survivors' lives changed after this, and I'm sure they had their atomic bomb that they invented themselves, right? Like, and I'm sure they had all these other like revelations about the importance of life and all this other stuff that came from this event. But why? Why the fuck would you choose this? It really hurt listening to this book. I was like, like if you asked me, hey Chris, do you want your child to be born 4 months premature and then watch them suffer for 39 days and see what's just to see what it's like? And maybe she survives, maybe she doesn't. Fuck you, no. I mean, like, I'm not ever gonna do that unless somebody told me, hey, if this happened, maybe we can save 500 other million people's lives or something like that.
I mean, answer is still no. My answer is still no. It's still no.
I mean, my answer is no, but maybe somebody's answer could be,
well, okay, that's their prerogative, not mine. Mine still say no.
It's like going to the moon. Like, remember when we just did Rocket Men? Like these people sacrificed their lives to go to unknown territories for the better good of humanity in a lot of ways, and they didn't know what they were getting themselves into. Like, they went and they tried something. It was dangerous as hell. They came back. They probably learned a lot of lessons. They went against Mother Nature and they survived. And they probably learned a lot of lessons. But at the same time, like, I can respect that, like, because they were doing something for humanity. These people aren't doing anything for humanity. They were just up there for sport. Like, they were up there for, I don't even know what the fuck they were up there for. Like, I mean, they weren't even trained mountaineers. They didn't even pay their dues to get on that mountain. These were people that were just like, hey, I'm going to pay some money and have somebody guide me up this mountain. And oh shit, like, Mother Nature, rolls in while we're up on, sorry to disturb you while you're summiting in an area that you shouldn't be. And Mother Nature rolls in a huge storm and people's families are ruined and lives are wrecked. And, lives are like, I mean, for what? Like, that's all I could think about the entire time was, going against Mother Nature. Don't ever, ever, ever do it unless you absolutely have to. Unless you absolutely, like I mean, I don't know. In a lot of ways, and I summed it up with a lot of ways that this is your magical learning in a nutshell. This is about understanding nature and everything that I can do to work with it and not against it. Like, I don't ever want to be in that situation ever again if I can choose it. I will never ever put myself in that spot. Like, somebody ever said, let's go climb Everest. Fuck you. I'm not doing that. Like, I mean, it's not even a consideration in my mind. And I respect the enduring ability of humanity more than anything, but this journey is about going with Mother Nature, not against it. And I don't, that's where you find balance and harmony is Mother Nature is when you're in harmony, and when you're in balance, like we were talking about last night, like, everything is right. Like, when you go against it, you get not harmony. Like, and that's just not what I want to be. So anyway, that's the reflection. Like, the question is are you going with nature or fighting against it? So I'd love to get your thoughts. I'm sure you have some good thoughts about this.
I mean, like I said, for me, right off the bat, the reflection for me or the lessons that I'm going to take for myself is don't go against nature
by choice.
Like, by choice. I mean, the thing is, that's just, so I think this deserves the saying, a beaver must dam.
Right.
Because you think about it, if you take a beaver and you throw him into the tundra, right? The Arctic snow or whatever, right? That's going against nature. There's no way a beaver is going to survive, or even, not to mention, like, he can't even like keep himself alive to even build a dam, or even looking for a dam, right? You can't really be yourself or be a beaver without being in harmony with Mother Nature. And you look at Mother Nature, it's like, if you have to take an analogy, if you go, if you're like maybe an ant, and you go up against, I don't know, a bulldog or whatever, right? An ant versus a bulldog, right? You just can't go against something that is like 100 times your size. You look at when I look at Mother Nature is an entity that has millions of years of training.
Right.
That means that over the millions of years that she has been doing this thing. She's been doing it for a million years. And you as a blip of a existence is trying to go against that. That's what I'm saying. If you're an ant going against a bulldog or human beings or somebody 100 times, 1,000 times, a million times or larger than you, the odds for you winning is almost zero. I mean, you
Agreed.
can probably survive because Mother Nature let off. Just like maybe a dog put a paws on the ant and then maybe it took his
Right,
paws
right,
off of you
exactly. Yeah,
and you
right,
may survive, right? And that's probably by accident that bulldog puts a paw on the ant. It's not
right.
by even by the malicious intent. You think about the magnitude of what Mother Nature has versus you. You have a very minuscule bit of existence versus the monumentous eons
Yeah,
of training and conditioning and evolution that Mother Nature has gone through to get to this point, right? So for me,
it's insane.
it is insane. And like I said, it's become so idiotic for someone to choose to go against Mother Nature. It's like going and say, okay, this is a atomic bomb, a little atomic bomb. I'm gonna stand there. I'm gonna light the fuse and see what happens. This
Yeah,
is
just
exactly the image I have in my head
it
when
is.
these guys are actually going up there. What are you going up there for? Are you going up there for some kind of like cure for the human race? Okay, maybe some. I mean, I can work with that,
Right.
right? And even if that's the case, right? You're going up there to bring home these valuable benefits to humanity, whatever. Even then, there are better ways to do it. Versus just, oh, I'm just gonna go because I have some money. I'm gonna
Plant a
pay
flag and
somebody
go home.
to right
Yeah.
and plant a flag and say what? Because
Take a
I have
photo.
a big kahunas that I
Right.
can go on to this enduring whatever like blistering cold Mount Everest. Like who give
No
a fuck?
air.
Who
No
no one cares
oxygen.
about you. I
Right.
mean, you think about it. Like the people who like for me, there's a lot of people have climbed or conquer Mount Everest. Can you ask me? Do I know who they are? I have no
Edmund
clue.
Hillary. You know who Sergey or
But I don't
you know
care. The point is, I don't care. I don't know who they are, and I don't care. So whatever you
you know
did,
who Edmund Hillary is. He's the first one, and that's fine. I don't mind it. And
I
his
don't care.
Sherpa.
But my point is, no one
What's it?
cares. No
No,
one
yeah,
cares unless, let's say, you bring back home like let's say you bring back home the fountain of youth, bring back home some medicine that
Tenzing Norgay. That's the same. Yeah,
helps me or whatever, right? Then it may know your name. That's it. But the
right.
point is, if you go up there for because you think you have big kahunas and you want to show the world that you are the whatever, right? The reality is, no one give a shit. I'm sorry,
No one
no
cares.
one no one give a shit
Scott
about it because this is
Scott Fischer and Rob Hall. Like, I care more about their family now. Where I'm like, you lost a father, you lost a husband, these people lost everything because you guys wanted to go play God on a mountain, and you're not God. Like, like it's I
and
mean,
that's and
people
that's
grow up
what
without fathers, and yeah,
I mean, this is the kind of things that bothers me the most. Is there's a lot of people who were just thrust into the situation and they have to survive, and they search for the best way to survive. These guys have no like they have all the things they have going for them, and then they choose to put themselves in a situation where it basically become their demise. To
yeah,
me, that was bothering me the most. I mean, for
it's it
you, I
it's
mean, your daughter was
troubling.
born out of because it was thrust upon you and your
Her.
family. You didn't choose it. You didn't ask for it, and you didn't want it. These people want it and asked for it and even paid for it. To
Yeah,
me, this is
they
the
paid for it.
asinine
Right.
of that, right? That's what
Right.
I'm saying is for me is like I understand there are random things you can't control, but there's things you can't control and you just piss it away. That is actually what gripes me the most.
It actually makes
Not
me
only that you
angry.
piss off your
I
life, you also put your family and your friends and the people who love you at the worst spot, the most anguish. To me, that's the
it's
most
horrible.
selfish, the most
It's
idiotic thing you can do.
it's almost like as bad as committing suicide, almost, like, in my opinion. I mean, it's
It is.
the human ability to endure it's one of our core values of Clubany, right? Like, I love our ability to endure, but we endure when we have to endure. We don't endure
That's
for
what
fun.
that's a me.
Like,
That's to me. That's a definition of enduring. To put yourself into harm's way, it's not enduring. It's just being stupid.
agreed. I mean, like, we endure when we have to endure. Like, we adapt when we have to adapt. When Mother Nature throws something into our path, and we're like, hey, like, we have to be versatile here, and we have to figure out a way forward. Like, that's like an atomic bomb gets dropped in your lap, right? Like, I mean, like, it's not cool. It's not fun. Nobody wants it. Like,
But
nobody's
don't search for
craving
atomic
this
bomb.
stuff.
I mean,
Like, I
don't
mean,
search for atomic bomb and try to say, hey, let's see if I can survive this.
it's insane. It
Chances are
literally.
you
I mean,
won't.
I get so after, I'm not even joking. I can't. I mean, you can probably hear I'm fired up right now about this. Like, after I finished this book, I couldn't get this out of my head for days. All I could just see was these people suffering in on a mountaintop for what? Like, I was like, what is the point? Even as I'm listening to him tell this whole story, I'm like, this story is riveting, and yes, I bought it, and yes, I'm listening to it, and yes, I'm going through this experience with you, and yes, I almost feel ashamed that I read it, to be honest with you. Like, I don't think it's almost like on the news where you hear a terrorist attack, or like some shooting that happens at like at a nightclub, or like the Pulse nightclub, or the thing that happened in Vegas. I almost feel bad for observing it. Like, like that. I mean, like, it's nobody asked for those things, and I'm just like, we as humans, we like to watch the shit show. Like, we like to see the idiots that have gone into into the atomic blast for no reason at all, and to see like what's going to happen, like how do they feel when they're in that. I mean, yes, we have a natural desire to want to peek in and go, why are you doing this, or why did this happen? So, like, you watch the news, like, you read books like this, and I don't know, I honestly feel bad that I did it, like, because like, I learned nothing from this book other than don't ever do that. Like, don't ever even consider it. Don't ever, fight the wrath of Mother Nature. And even if you do win, like, you're an idiot. Like, you get nothing. Like, I don't even think that the lessons that these people learned are validated, in my opinion, because they learned them in the wrong way. Like, it is one thing to learn by being forced into something and have to find your way through it. It is quite another thing to just throw yourself into it and say, like, I just want, like, I mean, even we love learning, right? Like, we love it, but like, I'm not going to go to the lengths of,
I mean, the thing is,
torturing myself to learn.
People take it for the wrong way, because there is a way. For me, like, for example, we take the compound effect, right? We learn the compound effect, but the thing is, we know the compound effect can go both ways. It's up and down, right? But I'm asking you, do you want compound effect downward?
No.
Right?
I'm not going to go be homeless just because I want to, because I want to.
That's what I'm saying is, you people take it the wrong way. It's not about, hey, I want to learn something. Oh, let me inflict these cancer cells on myself and see if I can feel anything.
Can you imagine that?
Let's imagine, taking a gun and shoot my brain and see what it feels like, right? Man, that's learning.
You're right.
That's learning, but that's the thing is, I think you're missing the concept here.
Right.
Right. The concept isn't to go downward and to go into the oblivion. The concept is to battle yourself to get to the point where you enjoy the moment of your existence. You enjoy the expressions of who you are and what you can do. Like I told you, like, if you're physically fit, all right, you would rather walk and run than be in a wheelchair.
Agreed. Yeah, right? I'm not going to spend my life in a wheelchair when I know I can run every day, right? Like, I mean, if anything, it's
the expressions of yourself. Don't be a donkey in a shed, right?
Right.
A donkey is sheltered in a shed. Why can't he live in a shed? That's not what he is supposed to do. It's not his expression.
Right.
So to me, that's the point. Is you can't just take anything and say, well, in the spirit learning, I'm going to bash my head against a wall and see my brain's just gonna how much how much my cranial can protect my little squishy
Right.
brain, right?
Right.
Let's test it out, and so that
That,
people
that's
again,
insane.
so people can write a
Excuse me.
book about me smashing my head against the wall, and they say, well, after the 20th bash against the wall with this force, right? They head
True died.
split open and die, right?
Right.
That's my contribution to society. You think about how I describe that. It's beyond asinine, right?
It's stupid. It's beyond like that. That's not to say that we can't learn from somebody that's in a car wreck, and their head in their accident and it's thrust onto them and they survived and whatever. Like I'm not saying that we're not saying that. Like bad shit happens. Like it's going to happen. Like like it's like your analogies are spot on. Like cancer is going to happen to people. Like people are going to die. But you're I think the cancer thing is a great example. Like if you could just inject cancer into your body or something like that, just to see how your body metabolizes it, and maybe you can fight it off, maybe you can't. Like, what can you learn out of that? What can you not learn out of that? Like, there's plenty of people that's going to happen to. You could go study them. Like, you do not need to go actively choose that. Like, I mean, it is, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know how else you can say it better than that. Like, because that's what it is, right? Like,
But yeah, that's the thing is, we're talking about Mother Nature, right? To me, I mean, you can state the exceptions all you want, but for me, Mother Nature wins 100% of the time.
always.
You may survive because Mother Nature lets up of whatever she does to you. She lets up, and you may be able to survive and like crawl out of the crushing blow that she gives you, but you didn't win. Mother Nature wins 100% of all the time. So like I said, you can state exceptions all you want, but in my mind, you can't win. Like zero, you have no chance of winning. So go back to what we were saying before is, there are certain things that you can control and you have to endure. Well, do the best you can, and hopefully Mother Nature will let up and let you survive.
Right.
But don't really, out of your own choosing, go against Mother Nature. To me, that's just committing suicide.
It is. I mean, it 100% is. Like in the just piggybacking on that thought, the beauty of humanity. You think about, okay, into thin air, right? Like, why is it called that? Because when you're up into the death zone, it's called the literal death zone. Humans aren't supposed to be there, but you know where they can be? They can be in a plane above that. We invented planes. Like we were like, hey, we fly way higher than Mount Everest. Like
we fucking went out of space.
I know, we went to outer space. Like, we are innovative. We are problem solvers. We are adaptable.
That's what I'm saying. Even if you have to go up the fucking mountain to bring down the miracle medicine to cure your daughter that has been sick and there's no curable from no uncurable disease, there's better way to do it than to go do that way.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, like you don't need to do that. Like, no one needed to do that. Like maybe Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay, like, respect. We learned what the death zone was. We learned you can't breathe at a certain point in time. Like, we learned we need to find another way to go higher. Like, I mean, like we learned from what they did. But we did not learn from what these people did. Like, all we learned is don't do what these people did. Like, and
I mean, it's just a waste. It's such a waste.
But it gets worse. Like, look at Everest, Everest, peak season. Look at these people on these mountains these days. Look at these lines of people that are just, I mean, this is Everest now. These are people, it's like, we've normalized, why? I don't know. And they don't, and the death rate is still really high. Like, I mean, it's not like this is, easy still. Like, yes, people, and actually,
why?
Chaps my ass even more. Look at all these people right here. Look at this line to summit Everest. First off, why? Second off, what they not only that, they all fucking cheat. They're fucking cheaters because they use Sherpas to go take all their bags up. They use oxygen to go up to the top anyway. Like, what's the point? Like, you're not only are you shouldn't not be there, you cheat your way up to the top of it, and you still have a chance to die. It's like, what?
I mean, even when you're cheating, you're not even smart about cheating.
And they litter the whole mountain, like, and they, you know, I mean,
I mean, if I were cheating, I'd just take a photograph,
take a helicopter, you know,
and then,
touchdown and get out, like, you know, like, I mean, what
I
the
don't
fuck?
know.
I mean, like, it I don't know. This book, like,
Maybe they lack a few brain cells, and maybe if they die off, you know, humanity will be better off. I mean, maybe that's the contribution to society.
I don't know. I'm just dumbfounded by this whole book. Like, this whole experience. Like, I mean, I will never get over it. I will never forget this book, because like this lesson's a really important lesson. Like, and like, I mean, it makes me even happier, our mission of going for balance. Like, you know, like going with Mother Nature.
It's going for harmony.
It's running downhill. It's swimming downstream. It's whatever analogy you want to do. We're not, Mother Nature's guiding us this way, telling us this is how we should be, this is how we should feel, and listen to yourself, respond to yourself, understand what you care about, understand what energizes you. Like, listening to that and running downhill, like, that feels way fucking better than climbing a mountain into the death zone when you can't even. Like John Krakauer even says, he's like, this isn't even technical rock climbing. He's like, I'm a technical rock climber. He's like, anybody can climb Everest. It's really how long can you suffer and endure, like, you know, just letting your body deteriorate.
Just inject some cancer cell into your body and see how long you endure. I mean, that's essentially the analogy.
It is.
It's not like climbing. You basically walking up this slope of a mountain and see how long you can survive the thin air.
See how long it takes your body to deteriorate. Yeah, I mean, pretty much. Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, it's like, well, inject this disease into yourself and see how long until you die. You take your last breath. This is the exact same analogy that I can think of.
It really is.
It is ridiculous.
It's disgusting is what it is to me. Like, talk about where you find core values. You remember how we've talked about this before? Disgust. You either find it by the things that just energize you, or the things that disgust you. This disgusts me. Like, this makes me want to go everything in my, talk about going against Mother Nature. I think this is for a reason. You know, I think that we're having this feeling for a reason, because Mother Nature is telling you this should disgust you. Do not do this. Do not challenge me.
The people who are attracted to these core values, they eventually don't survive, right? And the people who are left past the core value is don't go against Mother Nature.
Right.
We multiply, and because of the society as a whole believes in the don't go against Mother Nature, the society itself, like me and you, is disgusted by the choosing of becoming this idiotic mission of going up the mountain and for God knows what. To me, they basically are the rarity in the populace, just because you know they don't survive that long to even have an influence on the rest of our society. Our society, like I say, if you can endure, you can live longer, you have more opportunity to pass on your gene, and your genes will carry on. Say, well, if you had the core values of respecting Mother Nature, then your offspring, right? So you live longer, you produce more offspring, and your offspring inherit those core values, because those genes you have, right, is passed on, and they too will respect Mother Nature. There's gonna be some evolution where there's gonna be some becoming like, hey, I want to go up this Mount Everest just because. Well, they don't actually survive that many, so they become like this the outer limits of whatever you call the distribution curve, right? It's just out there, and they completely fall off of the cliff. I mean, like metaphorically falls off of the cliff of the human lineage.
I could not agree more. I mean, hell, even the I think you say is it Nepalese, whatever, the people of Nepal that live in these areas, the Sherpas, and like they lived there for forever, and they were like, we don't go up there. Like, like when it makes noise, we don't do it. Like the only reason they went up there is because they got paid, and they're like, yeah, our bodies have acclimated a little bit better, but we all know how dangerous this is. Like he talked a lot about it in this book of like how much they respect the mountain. They had like specific name. I mean, there was like a, I don't know if worship's the right word, but like the relationship between those people and that mountain was like sacred, because they were like, we get it, like we understand. You don't
go against that
right.
thing that has the ability to crush you. I just
Right.
don't.
It's sacred. I mean,
you,
like
you call it Mount Everest, you call it Mother Nature, you call it whatever you want, right? But like I said, I don't worship Mother Nature, but I'm not gonna go against Mother Nature. I'm gonna say,
Right.
I'm gonna sit there and say kumbaya, to Mother Nature and offer sacrifice of my offspring to her, and that I don't worship that Mother Nature, but I know Mother Nature is not exactly this kind of entity that you and I, in the same realm as you and I, right? There's something else, just like we're talking about the balanced disk versus the core values. They're not the same thing, but at the same time, we know that Mother Nature has millions and even billions of years of evolution, and she's been here for that long. Eventually, she has been exposed to all the probabilities of all things, and whatever is left is whatever is the most optimal for that probabilities. So that means if a beaver is in the river, that's the most optimal for that particular animals. And so for us, it's also different. We don't survive up in thin air, because that's not where we're supposed to be. Because we don't thrive in that conditions.
Right.
So
I'm sure birds do. I'm sure there's birds that fly up that high. I'm sure there's some animals in this world that
this is called harmony. I mean, you're talking about
there's organisms that live on those thermal vents in 30,000 feet below, oceans, where they're in like lava thermal vents, in the pitch dark, and there's organisms that live there. Like they wouldn't survive, where we're at right now, but they survive eating sulfur and being thousands of degrees hot, and in the pitch dark, and the like.
I mean, just like I said before, fish out of water, I'll put my head in underwater. It's the analogy. You have to harmonize with Mother Nature, right? Whatever your genetic makeup, your expressions of your genes needs to be harmony with Mother Nature for you to enjoy the moment of your existence. If you don't, then it's gonna be hell. I mean,
Agreed.
to think about, I keep having this imagery of the donkey Sherman in the shed, right?
Right.
That's not his natural environment.
I
mean, regardless of how good the environment was, it wasn't his.
Yeah, you can make a luxury hotel, barn, like he doesn't give a shit. Like he could have everything he needs in there. He doesn't care. He can't move. He can't run. He can't be a donkey, like, so his hooves die. And he dies.
Same thing is, I can have like the most, velvety bed of, all the royalty would ever want, but to take the fish out of water and put it on that bed, right? All the luxury of every single, everything that you and I think is great, you take a fish out of water and put it on that bed. You think about that image for a second.
Yeah,
it's just not what it's supposed to be, right? Yes. You can't take a fish and go against his ability to fit in with nature.
Right.
And you can't put me and can put my head underwater and expect me to live. I just can't do it.
Not true. You could be a scuba diver. You could like, once again, like we are innovative. We come up with solutions around these things, right? Like a fish can't figure out how to survive, throw him onto because he wouldn't be able to invent a little fish goggle thing that's full of nice little water to keep his gills. Like, I mean, we could probably do that. Like we did it scuba diving. We did it with, flying. We like humans are brilliant.
We are, but the thing is, we're not made to be underwater. We're not made to be in the air, right? So yes, we can fly. We can fly on an airplane for maybe, I don't know, maximum, I don't know, a few weeks, few months if you had to do it. but
Right.
you want to get out.
Yeah,
you
for sure.
want
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
want to touch on land. You want to step on land,
Right. Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
mean, you can go on to a cruise for a week, right? Then you say, hey, I miss land, right? I need for
That's a good
some
point.
reason it feels weird. I need to be on land. Scuba diving, you can put your scuba diving gear on and you can breathe underwater, but it's not natural. You're being forced. You go on uphill. Yes, you
Yeah,
can do it.
you'll absorb a lot of nitrogen. You'll get the bends, and your body will get all jacked up if you stay down there too long. You know, and
Right,
yeah, no, so
exactly.
no, you make a great point. Like, yes, we can momentarily, innovate
Because
ways
we have that faculty
right,
to bridge the different, I don't know what can't be mentioned because it's confusing, but the different environments, like the water, the atmosphere in the sky, right, on the
right,
airplane. But we made equipment
right,
to assist us in bridging that gap, but we
right,
don't get there because and stay there because it was the most optimal environment for us. The most optimal environment is what we got, what we're born with, right?
right,
We're
yeah,
born with the ability to walk, to run on land, not to swim in the water,
yeah,
not to fly in the air. We just long for land. we,
right,
we long to be free. We long to, have wide open backyard and meaningful relationship and things we do is a expressions of our reflection, reflections of our expression of it, whatever
right,
you call it. It's my calling, it's my manifest destiny, whatever you want to label that. That's how we're supposed to be. Once we are able to do that, like I say, if you have the physical faculty, you don't want to be in a wheelchair.
yeah,
I mean, the
I
thing is,
agree.
you just want to run. And the thing is, if you look, let's say you're an alien coming down from Earth, and you say, well, if this guy's in a wheelchair, and even they have this, somebody's wheelchair has motorized thing, you can just press a button. You don't exert any energy at all. But why aren't these guys keep walking and wasting so much of their fuel?
Right,
You think about it, right? So from that perspective, it's not that because something is better because it takes less energy. Universal. There's nothing universal about anything. It's all relative because when you
right,
have the faculties of an athletic person that has the ability to walk and run, you don't want to sit in a wheelchair and just push a button and it motorize and make move for you. Because that's, to me, from a scientific or um from a energy efficient perspective, it would be better to be in a wheelchair.
yeah,
But for us, it isn't. We want to walk, we want to run, we
you're
want
right,
to do backflips, cartwheel, whatever you want. I mean, we want to
right.
do those kind of things. So same thing, a beaver must dam, a donkey must roam, and us, we have the faculty to do the most of the things we need to
Born to run.
be able to manifest what we are,
Yeah,
be who we are.
that's harmony. That's balance.
That's a
That's go
harmony. That's
that's
not goes not
that's
that's not
going
going
with Mother
against Mother
Nature.
Nature.
Yeah. No, I could not agree more and couldn't say it better myself. I mean, I think this might be, I don't ever want to like chalk multiple lessons up to like, but this, like, I don't want to rank lessons, but this might be the most fundamental lesson of this whole entire journey thus far of like, we've talked about it in a lot of different ways, but like this is about going with the flow, going with
Right. And
like
so like I said, you think
running
about it, like
downhill, like all those things, right?
I think that in a way, company and what we've done thus far has only a few fundamental core values and lessons that we learn. A lot of the other lessons we have are merely a confirmations of the
Right.
same principle, a support, right? Because we're talking about the auto run downhill, right? A beaver must dam. Don't go against Mother Nature. These are the same lessons,
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are.
right?
100%.
Because I'm telling you to say, hey, if you are a fucking beaver, don't try to go and find the snow caps in the Arctic.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. This is all I'm saying, right?
Yeah, no,
And
it's funny to even think about it, to be honest with you. I mean, and it should be funny to think about humans up on Mount Everest. Like, it should be funny. Like it should be like, what are you doing? Like what are you doing? Like what are you doing up there, man? Like what?
I mean, you think about what I just said about the beaver. It sounds silly, right?
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
does.
you
That's what
take
I'm saying.
that
Like
and you apply it to these guys going up to Mount Everest. It's
you're
the
like, what are you doing?
same thing.
You wrote a book about that, you dumbass. We could have told you that we could have told you it was gonna suck and thanks for the vivid descriptions of how much it sucked not finding any dams in the Arctic or the desert.
Basically, is you're asking the beaver, say, hey, I'm going to find the Arctic and see how long I survive so that my other beaver brethren can learn not to go.
We're like, we already know that, bro. Like, you don't need to go there. Like, now, if for some weird ass reason that poor beaver, I don't know, got kidnapped by some boat vessel or whatever, and I don't know, somehow was clubbed over the head and unconscious and ended up on a boat, and somehow that boat ended up in the Arctic, and he had to survive, and then he came back and told his friends, like, guys, like, this was fucked, and I'm so happy to be home, but like, do you want to hear the story? They'd be like, yeah, like, I mean, that's awful. I mean, I can't believe, like, what did you learn about life, and share to the rest of the beavers. Like, I would respect that story, but to your point, if he was like packing up his little beaver sack, and he's like, guys,
no, this dam not for me, this river is not for me. I'm looking for some scorching sand or freezing snow and ice in the, I don't know, God's nowhere, right? That's the image that goes in my head when I see these people doing things for what? I mean, I just don't know why. I don't get it. But like a lot of people may give me a lot of shit for saying, "Hey, be yourself," right? I'm not telling you to be an idiot and do whatever comes to your mind, right? But be your true self, meaning who you really are. Because I say, if you're a beaver, you don't want to do things that's not a beaver. If you're a fox, right, then you don't want to be building dams. If you're a donkey, you want to be in the shed. I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's a fundamental concept and fundamental principle of be who you're supposed to express, because you are made up. You're given at random a certain set of genes, and those genes need to express, meaning it needs to do what it needs to do. Go back to what I'm saying before, is if you are physically fit, right, you have springs on your feet, right, you are going to be energized to walk and to run. You do not want to sit in a chair. It doesn't feel good for you, even though it's better in the grand scheme of whatever perspective that is. Like, hey, conservation of energy, for example, is not good for you to be in a wheelchair if you are able to walk and run, because it just doesn't feel like you cooped up in a shed like the donkey is.
Right. No,
so to me, it's like, don't take what I said at context and say, okay, I feel angry and I'm going to say whatever I want. Or I feel like, hey, this guy is not giving me the attention I need. I'm gonna go and slap him or punch him in the face because I'm not telling you to do that, because to me, if you slap him,
probably be disgusting
punch you back.
It would probably disgust you if you sat back and reflected on it and you're like, man, I just hurt somebody for no reason at all. I feel disgusted with myself. Like, that's when you say that's not a value, that is not running up, that is running uphill, that is not running downhill. There's a million examples we can give of that, but you'll know when you're going uphill.
There's an
or when
art.
You're going
there's
downhill.
an art to being who you are, right? I'm just saying. I say don't take it. Like I said, we're talking about the compound effect, right? That's a lesson the concept we should learn. But there's two ways to compound effect. There's the negative way and the positive way, right? You can compound effect down, get into a bunch of debt, right? Or you can make money, or reduce your intake of your bad food, or you add the bad food, right? It goes the other way. But when we're talking about the compound effect, we're not telling you to go back, because I assume that I mean, obviously you want to go the opposite, the positive way, not the negative way.
I don't know. I mean, you see people that do. You see idiots that do this, like, and you see people that that constantly run uphill. It's like we for some reason.
What gets me is that the gurus out there are telling you to go uphill.
Run uphill.
The gurus are telling you go up the mountain because
Right.
that's gonna make you
Embrace
this
the
or
suck.
that, right?
Yeah.
And you're gonna embrace the suck. You have to. I mean, the majority of the gurus out there are telling you just that because everybody's telling me rise, grind, repeat. Everybody's telling me eat the frog. Everybody's telling me to run uphill. Everyone that I've seen say, hey, you have to work hard. You got to take this, embrace the suck. I mean, even you tell me that. You told me when you were growing up, they told you, and one of your core values was to embrace the suck.
No, it was do the things you hate the most first. That's
what you told me. That's to
I know
embrace the suck.
It's literally like eat the frog. I mean, it's like I don't want to eat a frog. Like I don't want to eat a frog. Like a raw frog does not sound good. Maybe somebody wants to eat a frog, but like I don't want to eat a raw frog. It's just not in my cuisine, and I mean I'm with you 100%. I mean, like actually the funny thing is I feel like this is where we get into trouble, because we're talking about lessons that we learned from pain and suffering as well. Like a lot of this journey is based out of lessons learned from pain and suffering, right? Like there is value in that and sharing that with other people. It's pain and suffering is not the same though across all boards. Like the people that you're talking about, the gurus, the people that climbed Mount Everest, that came back down and said, these are the lessons that I learned, you should go climb Mount Everest. Like that's the people that are manufacturing pain and suffering to learn a lesson out of that. Like I don't know that should ever be the approach. That's the trumpets. Yeah. That's the microphones on social media out there. These are the people that are loud and saying, hey, I manufactured my pain and this is what I learned, you should do it too. Like, and you're like, no, you're missing the point. Like pain does bring lessons, but you don't.
But the thing is, it's not the pain you want; it's a lesson you want. So
why
are you have to go through the same hoop, same approach, right?
You don't.
If I can tell you, hey, there are other approach. What you want is a lesson,
yes,
not the pain.
Right.
Yes, pain will give you the lessons, but it's not the only way to get the lessons.
Agreed.
So, my philosophy, even from the beginning, is I've been through too much of it, not on purpose, but because I've been too much of the pain. I said I don't want it. I just want to know. I want to learn, but I don't want the pain. Right. And this is the quest. This is the quest for me: is to find lessons I can learn without having to go through the pain. And to me, I feel like I am pretty. I guess content with the answers that I've got and lessons I've learned, right, and have not been through the pain. And I've been growing in my own way, been growing as a person, being able to, like I said, I don't run for trains. And right, to me, it feels great compared to how it feels when I was running my own business when I was younger, running for trains, right?
Yeah, when you're running for trains.
It's a completely different state of mind. And for the genes that I have, that state of mind of not running for train, it's harmony versus. Yeah. I'm not telling you that, hey, it's going to be the same for you. I'm just saying, hey, depending on your particular compositions of the DNA and the genes you have, you will be more in line with one another. So you have to figure that out yourself.
Right. Agreed.
So for me, I had like a life of more peace of mind. I like the life of a Mexican fisherman. Go, live in a small village, fish a little bit, catch 1-2 fish, go home, take one fish home for your family, and trade the other two for other stuff, and then go hang out with my friends and talk about shoot the breeze. Right? That's have a good meal. That's my life, because my compositions of the genes wanted that, and that's in harmony with who I am as a person.
Right.
I'm not saying that's going to be you. It could be different, and that's fine. You just have to find yours.
Right. I agree. I think that's a good spot to end on for the night, though. That's a valuable lesson. I think this has got to be one of the top 5 lessons, I would say, in my opinion. I think
this is one of the core lessons of what company is about.
Because the compound effect, Beaver must dam, don't go against nature. I mean, these are I agree. I mean, these are probably the fundamental, you know,
The
and then
fundamentals of
obviously live your values, find out who you are and do it on purpose, you know, kind of, I mean, I would say those are probably, you know, the top 5 that I can think of off the top of my head, but this is definitely, it's definitely up there for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining. The question we can leave for everyone else is, are you going with nature or are you fighting against it? You know, are you running uphill or are you running downhill? Are you going upstream or are you going downstream? You know, or, you know, gosh, oh man, sometimes I hate ending these things because I always have another thought, but I just finished this book on shad, American shad. It's a fish that goes upstream to spawn. The book was called The Founding Fish. We'll talk about it later on down the road, but like they do swim upstream. And they do go against nature. They do everything they can for a reason, though. What do you think the reason is?
It's to have the maybe to protect the babies.
That's exactly what it is. That was my reflection. Was
There is certain. This is what I'm calling enduring. You endure for a reason of a cost greater than yourself. You want to protect and give your offspring the best chance of survival. So you're going to give them everything you have.
You will fight, scratch, claw. You will go through.
That's what I'm saying. If you have 2 tall buildings, and you put a plank from one roof to the other roof, and you tell me, you say, hey, walk across the plank from one building to the next building, I won't. But if my kid's over there and he's on fire, I will run across it. You don't have to pay me. I will run across, because the thing is, when you do certain things, that's why I'm saying, hey, when you go up the mountain, what are you bringing down? What is it? It's a benefit, right? What's it worth more than your life that you sacrifice for? If you have that, I mean, I'm willing to listen. But if you don't, I say, what the fuck are you trying to do?
If you told me I could save Amelia by going up Mount Everest and coming back, I would do it. Like,
yeah,
I mean,
if there's a plant up there that you need to go get, and there's no other way to get it, and they say, well, all the helicopters are not functioning, and you can't fly up there because of the weather, and your daughter has only this amount of time, and you have the only way for you to go up there is to climb. You would go, and I
wouldn't even think twice. I wouldn't even think twice. I mean, I like,
you don't even think about it. You don't even think about it, because this is where the core value comes in. Because like I told you, if my kid is on the other side of the roof on the top 2 tower, and there's a plank across it, right? I will go across it without even thinking.
Yeah,
because that's more important to me than anything else.
I think this we didn't touch on this the whole entire time, but the why of climbing this mountain for these people, I think that's the troubling thing. There was
that's
no
what I'm
why.
asking is why.
There was no why. There was no why. Like, I mean, like there was literally 0 whys, like, for any of these people, other than just because, like, you know, and that I don't care. That I don't respect. Like, you know, if you're gonna self endure, or if you're gonna self destruct for a why, I'm okay with that. Do it all day, every day. If you're gonna do it for nothing, just to say you endured, like,
that's stupid.
Fuck you. That's stupid. Yeah. Like, I mean, I agree. So, awesome. All right. Well, that's a good way to end it on. And we will see you all Monday.
Monday. Sounds good. Have
Merry Christmas.
Blessed holidays, and good Christmas to you and everybody else.
Absolutely. All right. We'll see you soon.
All right. Good night.